Hi everybody, how are you? I am good, and I am here in the kitchen today. I was just getting ready to make some banana bread, but before I got started on that, I had a question that was presented to me that I wanted to take some time to talk about. That question was, how do I get a good night's sleep, and a solid night's sleep with taking diuretics. And for me, the answer is I'm going to separate it into two separate things, one about the sleep and one about the diuretics. So in all honesty, in my whole entire life, I rarely have ever slept through the entire night. I'm one of those people that my mind has a habit of keeping going even when I am ready for bed. I love sleep. I can never seem to get enough of it. I am not a morning person. We end up most of the time, we go up to bed probably at about 10:30, in the bed, and we still watch some TV and start winding down, listening to the radio. We're up till midnight. And my husband is fine on 5 hours of sleep. He can get up at 5 in the morning and start off and, go through his whole day. I have not ever been a morning person. I did wake up early for the farm when we had the farm for many, many, many years. And I vowed when we got rid of it and I no longer needed to care for the horses in the morning that I would never get up early again unless I absolutely had to for some special occasion. So I normally start waking up at about 9:30 and usually am out of bed by like 10 or so. Now, with that being said, my worst sleepless nights were in the month before I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I was up probably every 15 to 30 minutes using the bathroom or trying to. And it always felt like I had to go, but not much was coming out. Later, I would find out that it was because my body was starting to shut down because my heart was doing so horribly that it was starting to affect the rest of my organs. So with that being said, that every 15 to 30 minutes of waking was my worst. Then after I was diagnosed and started getting treated and got put on oxygen, I probably had the best sleep. So I would wake up maybe once or twice during the night. And that was more normal for me. I found early on, like right when I came home from the hospital, that my diuretics wouldn't work for me if I took them in the evening. So I learned that I had to take them on an empty stomach to get any results at all. Otherwise, I would just keep building up fluid, and they would try to raise the amount of diuretics, but it wasn't working. So what we ended up doing was going back to 40 milligrams, and I would take it in the morning. I take it about 30 minutes before I'm ready to get out of bed. So like I wake up at 9:30, I take it, and then I'd go back to bed, lay around for a little bit, and just about the time that the pill starts working, I'm ready to go and get up and start getting ready. So during that time that I'm cleaning up my bedroom, getting dressed, taking a shower, doing my hair and makeup and all that stuff, I'm right by the toilet, and I can spend that hour and a half running in and out of the bathroom while I get ready. And there's no inconvenience to me whatsoever. So this is when I take my diuretics. And by doing that, I start the day off with no fluids, and I breathe really well in the morning, and, I'm ready to go. So, and then by the end of the night, when I'm starting to fill up with fluids and starting to slow down, it's time to wind down anyways, and it doesn't really matter. With that being said, though, too, the fluids don't affect me for sleeping. So I don't feel short of breath not taking the diuretics at night. If I'm not moving, I'm fine. So, for sleeping, it has no effect on me. What I also learned too, and my doctor let me experiment with this stuff because he says that anything that you do consistently with your body will get used to it and then it'll want more of it. So he said anytime that I weigh myself at night and weigh myself in the morning, and anytime that I find that I can go without my water pill, then to do that, even if it's only like once a month or once every couple of weeks. So that's the oven. It's ready to put the banana bread in, but the banana bread's not ready yet. So, so what I started noticing was, or working on, was how little diuretics could I use and get it to work effectively. I had read many other people, their doctor was constantly raising, and this is hard on your body to have the diuretics need more and more and more. I think it's hard on your kidney and your liver, and just overall it adds an extra strain. So the less I can use, the better. So that's what I started focusing on. So in the morning when I got up, I would weigh myself and I would see how much water weight my body lost on its own overnight. And then I would take my diuretics according to that. So the 40 milligram pills, I started breaking in half and only taking 20 milligrams of them every morning. And on occasion, I was able to skip some, and on occasion, I would break them into quarters. And after doing this, and I only take them once a day, so it's in the morning. After doing this for quite some time, I was finally able to consistently take only a quarter of the pill. Now, with that quarter, I don't get to skip. That quarter is the minimum that I need, but I absolutely have to have it. So there's definite noticeable difference if I skip that. So I don't skip it. I take it every day, but it's such a minimal amount that my body seems to be doing really well with it. So that being said, that's how I avoid having my diuretics affect my sleep at night. Now, as far as just trying to get my mind to stop, I've always gotten up to use the bathroom a couple times at night, like I said, once or twice. And I have a tendency to have trouble falling asleep. So in other words, just to get my mind to quiet down. And what I've learned as I get older is I know that there is nothing, no matter what my mind is thinking about, there's nothing that I can do about it at that moment at night. So if anything was going to be done, it was going to have to be done before I went to bed or when I get up tomorrow, the next day. So with that, I remind myself that nothing can be done that night, unless it's, unless I'm laying in bed hungry, in which case I'll just get up and go get something to eat, because it's better for me to solve the problem than to lay there for the entire night thinking about it. So I'll get up and get something to eat. So if it's something that I can actually do something about, and solve the problem completely, if it's something that has to be done during normal business hours, or something that I'm thinking about that needs to be discussed with other people and things like that, or would be better done during normal daily hours, then I remind myself that that is a fact, that it needs to be done during normal hours and I shouldn't be giving any energy to it. So I remind myself that this is a time to sleep, and I'll remind my mind that it's time to sleep. So every time my mind starts to wander, I'll just remind it it's time to sleep, and before you know it, I am off into oblivion. And I'll wake up, 3-4 hours later to go use the bathroom, but we'll have had a good solid 4 hours or so of sleep before doing so. So I am always happy with that. I will take what I can get. So that's how I handle my diuretics and sleeping. And I don't know, it's just a fact that everybody sleeps differently. My husband is somebody that can get into bed, fall asleep right away. I mean, the minute his head hits the pillow, he's already gone. So me, I've always taken a long time, and you kind of just have to learn to I guess, manage the best you can with what it is that you got as far as your habits for your body, and go from there. The last thing I want to mention about the diuretics is all the Lasix are not created equal. So in other words, they have 40 milligrams, 20 milligrams, 10 milligrams, and higher. I don't know. I know they have higher ones too, but I've never gone higher than 40. Now, when I told my doctor that I could cut them in half and they worked that way, he said, oh, let me prescribe you 20 milligrams or 20 MEQs, something like that. I forget which one it is. But so we went to a 20 MEQ so I wouldn't have to cut the pills. What we found was my body wouldn't work with those. And so when I first went back to him, he said, oh, that's ridiculous. There's no reason why they wouldn't. It's the same amount you've been taking when you cut them in half. So I tried again, and again, it didn't work. And I went back to my 40, and they worked fine, cut in half. So I called my pharmacist and asked him why it would be that wouldn't work. And he said that what they use to cut the pills with to make the different denominations changes, and those variables sometimes changes the way that your body reacts to them. So what I'm trying to say is if you've had trouble with diuretics and getting them to work for you, sometimes you have to change the denomination of the pill, that you get, and try different ones. And it sounds crazy, but it definitely affects things. So before you get too discouraged and like your doctor starts, so let's say you have 20 milligram pills at home and he's like, and you're like, it's not working, and he's like, okay, well, bump it up to 40 or 60. Before taking so many of them, maybe ask him to prescribe you a 40 or a 60 and see if the different prescription has a different effect. And then what you might find is you can get the 40 pill and take it as a 20, and it might do wonders for you. So just some things to think about. But for now, we are going to go ahead and make some banana bread. I think the last thing I made with you guys was deviled eggs. I do banana bread quite frequently with our leftover bananas, and I usually make double batches. One for our house and one to give to my daughter, or one to give to our cleaning lady. Just whoever didn't get one last usually gets one. So here we go. So the banana breads are all mixed and now in the oven. They cook for about an hour. I love when I cook banana bread because it makes the house smell so good. And they taste really good too. So we enjoy them around here. I do them quite frequently, like I said. For anybody that's interested in cooking, I used to pay for Wolfgang Puck's online cooking school, and it was nice because you could go there and he would just give you like simple tricks and tips, and he has got a lot of great recipes, but just the tricks and tips that he gives, not that anybody needs any special skills to cook banana bread or deviled eggs or anything, but for like dinners and stuff like that, he gives a lot of tricks and tips that make cooking much simpler and taste much more complicated. So I was just so enamored by the things that he taught that made everything so much easier with less fuss and muss over everything. And what's nice is this online cooking school went from being paid for, so in other words, you had to pay monthly to belong to the membership, but he now offers it for free. So if you wanted to go there and check it out, it's Wolfgang Puck's online cooking school. And it's not where I got my banana bread recipe or even the deviled eggs recipe or anything like that. But he just, the things that he teaches about cooking, if you want to make cooking simpler, there's a lot on there for that. And then he's got a lot of good recipes like his pot pies and stuff like that that are amazing and easy. So yeah, check it out. And on another note about the diuretics and helping your body to get rid of fluids, I used to be a diehard soda fan, and actually I still am a diehard soda fan, but I try to limit my intake of soda. Whenever me and my daughter are together and I hear her crack open a can of soda, I come running because I'll have just a couple squigs of it, and I don't feel obligated to drink a whole can then. If I open a can, I feel like I should drink it. When she opens it, I can have just a couple of sips, satisfy that taste for it, and then she'll finish off the rest. But she, too, is trying to curtail her soda intake, so those opportunities are far and few between. I allow myself to have some usually on the weekend, you know, like when we're out and about or whatever. But I try to keep it down to a day or two at most. But what I was heading in the right direction of saying is that the fluid that is definitely the most easiest for our body to get rid of is water. So what I find is on the days that I drink the most water, the fluids go through me the easiest. So I need less help for my diuretics on those days. And yeah, so I've become accustomed to drinking water. The way it tastes the best to me is absolutely full of ice. So it is ice cold. But yeah, so that is worth mentioning too, that our body does have more trouble getting rid of other sugary drinks and stuff like that than it does just straight water. And water can take a while to get used to drinking, but it should be mentioned that a lot of the juices and other things still have a lot of sugar in them, even though they say that they're supposed to be healthy. So, you know, I always just check the back to see what's really going on with them. Check their labels and see what the sugars and carb rates are for them. Yeah, and I guess other than that, you know, I guess I should say too, because I did say we go into bed and we watch TV and have the radio on and stuff at night. A little while before we're ready to go to sleep, we'll turn the TV off so that we get rid of that blue light. And then we try not to look at our phones or have any of that blue light on. I make it as black as I possibly can in the room, and I also find that cold is better. So I sleep much more solidly and much more soundly when it's cold in a room. So the rest of the house might be freezing. My room is freezing at night, and then in the morning we'll come back and, you know, make the rest of the house more comfortable again for normal living. But at least during the night, I always do keep it super cold. I find that my most solid sleep comes when it is cold like that. So being warm just makes me toss and turn, and I wake up for no reason. And so yeah, those are some added things that you can do. And we start to wind down, you know, like a half an hour before we actually fall asleep. So we'll get in bed at like 10:30, watch a little bit of TV. At about 11, we turn that off, listen to some radio in just the dark, and, you know, probably spend some time talking and stuff, and just winding down for the night. So, yeah, I mean, just, you know, really just using common sense. You know, you don't want to be up jumping around before you go to bed and get all wound up. You know, just try to do things that are conducive to your body. I used to take baths at night before bed, and it would relax, you know, my muscles and stuff. Since being diagnosed with the PAH, I finally figured out why I was starting to have trouble with baths. It's just, I don't know, it does something to how I feel. So it was, you know, in my last year of taking baths, it was getting to be less and less relaxing and more taxing to do it. So I don't do that anymore. But yeah, you just need to kind of find your own ritual and routine that works for you on what helps to relax you and get you ready for bed. So I wish all of you luck with your nighttime routine and with having success with your diuretics so that you don't have to keep increasing them, and find a time of day that works well for you within your schedule. The nice thing about mine is that once I use them in the morning and everything, I'm done, and then I can go on with my day like a normal person, you know, all the way until the very next day, because once it works its way through, pretty much done for the day. So, you know, that makes it nice. So just try to figure out what works with your schedule and where you're at, and if an empty stomach is maybe better than after eating, and, you know, just test different scenarios. Everybody is different, so you want to always test different scenarios. And as soon as the banana bread gets out of the oven, I'll show you what they look like. But other than that, thanks for watching, and have a great day, you guys. Okay, they're ready, so we will go ahead and get them out. See what they look like. It's 1 and 2. So there we go. Have a good one, you guys.